Hi, heroes. So, are you ready to hear what Paris chooses? If you remember from last time, he has the choice. He can pick Hera, who has offered to bribe him with wealth and power. He can choose Athena, goddess of wisdom and war, who has offered to bribe him with wisdom and prowess on the battlefield. Or he can choose Aphrodite, who has attempted to bribe him with a promise of the most beautiful woman in the world to be his wife. So, drum roll please. Faced with this momentous decision, Paris doesn't even realize what a momentous decision he's about to make. He does not realize the implications far-reaching that he's about to unleash because, you see, he's 18 years old, he's been living on a mountain, and the only women who've ever been around him have been big, burly shepherdess women. And so, of course, you probably guessed it, he chooses Aphrodite so he can get the most beautiful woman in the world to be his wife. Ah, Paris, what are you thinking? You have no idea. But alas, we gotta give him some slack because he is 18 after all, and people make really stupid decisions when they're in their impulsive teen years. Keep that in mind, heroes. So, what ends up happening is, well, I'll get back to Paris later. We're going to leave him on the mountainside, and we're going to go back in time, because you probably want to know about this most beautiful woman in the world person, right? Who is she? Where does she come from? How did she get to be so beautiful? Well, years ago, there was this beautiful queen of Sparta named Leda. Now, Leda was so beautiful that she caught the eye of, you guessed it, Zeus, king of the gods. So Zeus decides that he's in love with Leda and he wants to be with her. But the trouble is she already has a husband, King Tyndareus. So Zeus waits for the most advantageous time, which happens to be in the middle of the night. After Leda and Tyndareus have been together, for some reason, Tyndareus decides to leave the bedroom. Not a good idea, but anyway, he does. And Leda sort of turns over in her bed and is very surprised to see a very beautiful swan sitting in the corner of her room. And this swan approaches her and spreads its wings and enfolds her in this loving embrace, so that 9 months later, wait for it, she lays 2 eggs. I know, right? Anyway, these 2 eggs each contain 2 babies within them. In the first egg, you've got 2 boy babies, okay? And for some reason that's never been clear to me, one of the boy babies is the son of Zeus. One of the boy babies is the son of Leda's mortal husband, King Tyndareus. I don't know why they're in the same egg, but whatever. It's mythology. So anyway, these 2 boy babies hatch out, and the son of Tyndareus, the mortal dad, his name, that son is Castor. He's just a regular, average baby boy. The other boy, the son of Zeus, is named Pollux. In some myths, you're probably going to run across his name as being Polydeuces. Don't be confused. Pollux, Polydeuces, same guy, different name. I know, it happens all the time. So Pollux, Zeus's son, is pretty extraordinary because early on, when he's little, the adults around him start to realize that he doesn't ever really stay injured for long. You know, he does the regular boy stuff, falls out of trees, jumps off of high things. He breaks bones, he gets scraped up, but the really weird thing is all of his wounds heal within hours. So this kid is indestructible kid. He has inherited immortality from his father Zeus. Now in the other egg, remember, Leda gave birth to 2 eggs. In the other egg are 2 girl babies. Okay, one of them is the child of Leda and Tyndareus. She's a regular everyday baby. Her name is Clytemnestra. The other baby, her sister, is a daughter of Zeus. Zeus has a lot of sons, not too many daughters, but anyway, this daughter of Zeus is named Helen. And while her brother Pollux has inherited their father's immortality, Helen has inherited his beauty. This little girl, from the moment she hatches out of that egg, she is beautiful. People ooh and ah over her. They all want to hold her. They all just want to bask in her beauty. And the weird thing is, the older she gets, the more beautiful she grows. So there you have it, the most beautiful woman in the world, who's not actually a goddess. It's Helen of Sparta. So, interesting note about Castor and Pollux, the 2 brothers. From the moment they both hatch out of that egg, they are inseparable. They do everything together. They are thick as thieves, close as brothers can possibly be. They really, really love each other. Now, they have many adventures during the course of their lives. I won't get into all of them, but there comes a time when Castor and Pollux are in a battle, and Castor receives a mortal wound. This wound is going to kill him. So as he's lying there with his blood dripping down into the earth, Pollux, his brother, comes upon him, and he realizes that there's no way he can save his brother. His brother is dying. And so Pollux is not only grief-stricken at the thought of his brother dying, but it's intensified because he knows that he's immortal. He himself is never going to die. What is he going to do? He cannot go on. His brother is like an extension of him. How is he supposed to go on living without his brother? That would be sheer torture. So he prays to his father Zeus. Apparently somebody somewhere along the line told him that his father was Zeus, or maybe he just suspected because, he is immortal. Anyway, he prays to his father Zeus on Mount Olympus, and he says, Zeus, if you really are my father, please just grant me this one thing. My brother is my other half. If he dies, I do not want to go on living. So please, if he has to die, please take my life too. I can't go on living without him. And Zeus hears this prayer and is so touched by this show of brotherly love that he works out a compromise wherein Castor and Pollux are able to share this one single immortality package. And so the way it works is they spend half a year in the underworld and half a year walking the earth. Kind of like a Persephone deal, if you remember that. So that works out for a while, but you can only live half a life for so long, and eventually the brothers get kind of tired of this arrangement. So Zeus decides that he's going to give both of them immortality by placing them in the heavens, up in the sky, where they can always be together. And we see them today as the constellation Gemini, the 2 twins joined with their hands. So anyway, kind of a cool story about Castor and Pollux. Let's get to Helen, because we need to know about the most beautiful woman in the world. Like I said, she just gets more beautiful day after day after day. And her beauty, word of her beauty spreads far and wide to all the lands. And so when it comes time for her to be old enough to marry, and by the way, her sister Clytemnestra, same age, also ready to marry, but nobody's really talking about Clytemnestra. Just a little side note, as someone who has a sister, I think it would be really, really awful to be sisters with the most beautiful woman in the world. It's got to be hard, right? Nobody says it in the myths. I've never actually read this anywhere, but my idea is these sisters must have had a really difficult relationship. Sister relationships can be difficult anyway, and I'm imagining with one of them being the most beautiful woman in the world, there had to have been some tension over the years. Nobody knows how Clytemnestra was feeling when Helen is all of a sudden marriageable age and everybody's like, ooh, Helen, I'm going to go to Troy, see if I can marry her. I don't know if anybody was really saying that about Clytemnestra. Again, it's not in the myths. This is just my idea. Anyway, so word spreads. Helen and Clytemnestra are old enough to be married. So all of the eligible bachelors from all over the place, every king, prince, governor, general, you name it, the movers and shakers of the ancient world who are not married right now, all converge on Sparta because they all want to marry Helen. And each one of these guys thinks he's all that, he's the best one. And so when they come to Sparta, King Tyndareus has a real problem on his hands because his house is flooded with these eligible bachelors. And the thing of it is, the ancient Greeks had these hospitality rules that you weren't supposed to ever break. The deal was, it's so hard to travel. You know, people, there's no trains, there's no planes, there's no automobiles. People are traveling by foot, by carriage if they're lucky, and there's no hotels. So if you open your door some night and there's a stranger on your doorstep, the Greek laws of hospitality said you have to invite that person in and you have to feed them and you have to give them a place to sleep until they're ready to move on. You can't kick them out. You can't stop feeding them. If you do, the gods will visit vengeance on you. This theme is all over their myths. So King Tyndareus has hundreds of guys at his doorstep all wanting to marry one of his daughters, and he can't kick them out. And they're eating him out of house and home. What is he supposed to do? Some of you may be thinking, well, why doesn't he just pick a wife or pick a husband for his daughter? Well, the thing is, if he's going to pick that king to marry Helen, his daughter, what's that king going to say? He's going to be pretty ticked. What if he goes home and raises an army and brings it back to attack Sparta? King Tyndareus has to think of his kingdom here, guys. So, again, he's really in a bind. And that is the state of things with the eligible, beautiful woman, most beautiful woman in the world, up on the marriage auction block. And that's where I'm going to leave off with episode 4. I will pick up this strand of the story in the next episode. See you then, heroes.